Going on, people? It's your boy Nando and Jermaine reporting for the P4P Boxing Show Podcast. Special weekend, as this weekend we had some amazing fights. What's going on, Jermaine?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Very well.
It's been a lively weekend, man. We've had some amazing fights on the cards, main events. Also, just to let you know, this podcast in association of Dirty South and IQ Boxing. How can I forget?
Can't forget that.
That's it, man. Let's tell them about something, man. Why should they head over to dirtysouthboxing.co.uk, Jermaine?
If you want some quality gloves, quality pads, boxer rings, gum shields, groin protectors, you name it, Dirty South Boxing have got all that great top quality equipment. So get down to the website, dirtysouthboxing.co.uk, and check it out, guys.
That's it, man. If you want to feel and look like a world champion, it's the best place to go to. And you know what? Every day is a January sale for us, man. BMW 20% off your first sale. Also, you can get everything customed. You could get, it's your boy Nando on it. If you want my face on your gloves, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? If you want Jermaine's face on your right glove, mine on your left, it could be done. You know what I'm saying? If you want your girlfriend's name, your baby mother's name on your gloves, it can be done. That's it. You want to impress people, that's it. This is the place to go.
Yeah, I mean, personalized gloves, personalized even gum shields, personalized shorts, boots. Like I said, you name it, Dirty South Boxing have got some great quality equipment, and they represent some great boxers as well. So check them out. And if you want to make a purchase, don't forget to put our code in BNW20 at the checkout.
That's it, man. Obviously, Friday was one of the events that kicked off a great weekend of boxing. We had Saunders versus Murray. How amazing did Billy Joe Saunders fight?
You know what? It kind of surprised me in a way. I thought Murray would be the aggressor, but actually it was that way around. And Saunders didn't fight on the back foot. He actually pressed the fight, was the aggressor, boxed very, very well. And I think for me, he just kind of schooled Murray. Murray, for me, he never was going to be, for me, win that fight. He's been in a lot of world title fights. I think that's his fifth fight for a world title, and he's never got any close to winning any of them for me. And for me, I'm not surprised by the result. I thought even during the fight that Billy Joe could have stopped him as well. And at some stage in the fight, he really did hurt him up a little bit. And I thought he might go for the stoppage, but obviously that didn't materialize. But for me, Billy Joe boxed tremendously well. Fought very well on the inside, used his jab very well, some good combinations, just good all-round ring craft. Obviously, he's an experienced fighter, and he displayed his skills. And I think now he needs bigger fights now. Moving on for me, I think for him to really get up and show how good a fighter he is, he needs these big fights now. Hopefully, by him going match for him, that's the reason why we want to see these fights, and hopefully he wants these fights as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think he had a point to prove because, you know, prior to the fight, the big question was, it wasn't who was going to win. People were saying, is Billy Joe on it? Is Billy Joe is this going to be the Billy Joe that we saw against Lemieux, or is it going to be the Billy Joe that we saw on the KSI Logan Paul undercard, where he just about won poor, and it just showed that he's on it now. I think. Would you say maybe because the fact that the Canelo fight was there, it was nearly signed, and due to COVID, he lost it. He saw that he went to Smith. Do you think that he had a point to prove that now he deserves the winner of that Canelo Smith fight?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, we all know that his last, I think his last appearance, it wasn't the greatest appearance of when he fought in the KSI. I think it's against the Argentinian guy. I forgot his name. Yeah. And he didn't box very well. Obviously, he stopped him late. But for me, he wasn't the Billy Joe Saunders we all know. And obviously, he looked like he had a point to prove. He knew, for me, obviously, Murray's not a Canelo. He's not a Triple G. He's not a Callum Smith. But you know he's going to get a tough fight from this guy. And he knew that he had to perform very well to try and show his boxing skills and put himself back in the shop window in terms of getting his fights. I know he's probably not pleased about not getting a chance to fight Canelo. He believes he should be in a fight with Canelo, Demetrius Andrade, and he's not being given one of these fights, and he must be frustrated. So he boxed very well, and I think he's put himself out there now for a big 2021.
I totally agree with that. For me, I don't think he's going to get Andrade, because Andrade, for me, is going to get Liam Williams. He's the mandatory, so he's going to get him. I heard that apparently the fight Canelo Smith has a rematch clause. So whoever loses, there's going to be a second fight. So I doubt he's going to face Canelo or Smith in 2021. For me, the guy that I think he should go for is Triple G. As much as people say Triple G ain't the same fight he was before, he's still one of the best in the division. Golovkin is unbelievable. Go down as one of the greatest of all time. And right now, he can still do it. He's still a dangerous fighter. I still believe he has the attributes that can maybe win the trilogy against Canelo. He can trouble Smith. He could trouble anyone in that division. And I think to prove all his doubters wrong, that's the guy he should go for.
Yeah, man, it's a fight. Like I said, it's a fight he always wanted. That's a Triple G, Canelo. He even said he wants to get in there with Smith. He's never ruled out the fact of even fighting Eubank Jr. for a second fight. I just believe he needs to be in these sort of fights. If you want to see the best Billy Joe Saunders, he needs to be in there with an elite fighter. That's the only time you're gonna see levels from this guy. And you can't, like I said, you can't get up out of bed for. No disrespect to him, but Martin Murray, you can't really get out of bed and expect to come and put in a fantastic performance and blow this guy away, and or even just like box very, I don't know, just showcase his skills and show other attributes to his game. For me, like I said, if you can get in there with a Triple G, that'd be a great fight. It could happen. That can definitely happen with Eddie Hearn being part of the DAZN, and obviously Billy Joe being part of the same promotion. So that for me, that can happen. I would like to see him go in there and fight someone like either Daniel Jacobs. There's so many fights like Daniel Jacobs, Khalid Plant. Plant a bit. I was about to get to that Khalid Plant as well. There's so many top fighters at 160 and at 168 that he could actually fight. And for me, he needs to get himself out there. The thing with Billy Joe Saunders, as much as a great fighter he is, he's not active enough for me. And I believe he needs to. Obviously, it's not always his fault that he's not active enough. Obviously, he's had some huge problems outside the ring. He's not painting himself in glory sometimes, but we know how good a quality fighter he is. But if he's a bit more active and gets his fights, so for me, if he's fighting like 2-3 times a year, which is possible, it would be fantastic to see. It really would.
Yeah, 100%. Hopefully we can see him soon. Hopefully we don't have to wait until like summer. You know, he should be more active. There's enough time for him to come back March, in my opinion. You know, this thing that they have to wait every 6 months, every 8 months to fight, it's ridiculous. Back in the 90s, we're used to people that were boxing every 3-4 months. You know what I'm saying? Even less than that. So I think it's time for him to, you know what, start boxing at least 3 times a year, 4 times, if anything. You know, you're a world champion. Us fans, we're paying to watch you, whether it's going to the stadium or your pay-per-views or the subscription. You need to give us our money's worth. You did on Friday, but it needs to be more consistent.
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, he definitely needs to be more active. If he fights 2-3 times a year, that for me, that's a great step in the right way, because, like I said, he's a quality fighter, and we need to see him showing these skills on a regular basis. And I believe that if he can get these sort of fights, for me, he should be trying to get these big fights now next year, at least 2 big fights next year, against someone from overseas in America, American fighter, or domestic fight over here with the likes of Callum Smith or even Eubank Jr. But for me, I want to see these big fights from Billy Joe Saunders.
100%. Let's go over to the fight that everyone's been talking about today, more than any other fight this weekend. Anthony Yarde versus Lyndon Arthur. A lot of people say it's a shock. I don't think it was a shock. Like I said when we spoke to Alfie Warren, it's a 50-50 fight. You know, if you're a diehard boxing fan, you know that this was a 50-50 fight. You know what? I'm gonna let you go first, Jermaine, because I've got a lot to say.
What's that saying they say? The right hand will take you around the block, but left jab will take you around the world. 2 weeks in a row, we've seen a masterpiece, a master boxing class from 2 fighters for me in using the jab and getting back to using their strengths and back to the drawing board in terms of just boxing at the way they should be boxing and not trying to get involved in a scrap of a fight. And Lyndon Arthur, absolute salute to him, because he boxed very well, used a jab. For me, Anthony Yarde got nowhere near him, man. didn't do enough in the inside. Didn't do enough on the inside. For me, if Anthony Yarde's gonna win the fights, he has to get closer and closer gap down to when he's fighting these guys. And the fact that he was just getting jabbed, picked off at will with jabs, and never got a chance to fight on the inside and close the gap and really hurt Lyndon off until was it the 12th round when he actually rocked him. For me, that's too little, too late, and can't be complaining too much about it not going your way, because for me, look at the interview with Steve Bonds after. He said to him he didn't do enough. He didn't do enough, and that's the reason why he came out short for me.
He actually came out afterwards and said, I think I did enough to win. I was landing all the jabs, he said. His jabs. He actually said his jabs were landing, mate. That's when I was looking at it. I was like, are you out of your mind? Are you that arrogant that you think you did anything to win that fight? And I'm shocked at the arrogance. And I think that's one of the things that let him down as well, is his arrogance. His arrogance let him down. At the end of the fight, you actually were standing in the middle of the ring saying, are you serious? You were actually mumbling, are you serious? I hope that he rewatched it today or last night when he got home and realized, you know what? Yeah, I did lose. It's like David Hayes said last night. You got a boxer who can hit, who likes a good scrap, but he tried to jab someone who's jabbing the hell out of you for 12 rounds. It's like, what are you doing? It's like, and then when you finally try to bring that aggression to him, come forward, it's a little too late. And that you did it in the 12th round, the last round. He nearly got him, but it's too late. It's like you didn't let your hands down. You didn't do enough in the whole fight. I think that annoys me. And you know what? We're gonna get blocked for this. I don't care. Is Tunde, the whole fight, mate? You can't let your fighter getting jabbed like that for the whole fight. And the only words of encouragement is he's scared. No, he wasn't. He was nowhere near scared. It was the other way around. I think it was Yarde that was shocked at what was happening, because I thought deep down he probably thought like there's a walk in the park like his other opponents, the other journeymen, but this weren't no journeyman. There was a reason why, no one goes around calling themselves a king for no reason. And King dethroned you, mate. Like, that's it. Put the lion down, back in the cage. And the whole fight, all you're doing is shouting, "Lions in the camp." Get the hell out of here. Like, you need more encouragement than that. He's scared. He hasn't got a right hand. And then Yarde's like, yeah, he's not using it. He can't use it. He can't use his right hand. What kind of ball is that? Like, the whole fight, that's all you man are saying in the corner. Is that all you have to say? Is lions in the camp? Like, is that, he can't use his right hand. That makes it even worse. The fact that you're saying my man hasn't got a right hand, right? And he's jabbing you with a left and he beat you with one hand. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, you're saying it on camera. You're telling people I'm getting beat by one hand. He hasn't got a right hand. He can't use it. Okay, take advantage of that. But you didn't.
Yeah, for me, like I said, he didn't close the fight down. This fight kind of reminded me a bit like the Chris Eubank Billy Joe Saunders fight, in terms of Billy Joe was just dictating the fight for the first 6-7 rounds, and Eubank thinks, maybe I should start boxing now. Too little, too late, mate. You're already 7 rounds down, mate, and the fight's done. Unless you're going to stop the guy, which you didn't, then, and I think as well, Lyndon Arthur felt his power. Obviously, it was late in the fight, but Lyndon Arthur felt his power, and for me, it's too little, too late. I'm just disappointed with Anthony Yarde in terms of, I think it kind of reminded me of the Dubois fight, in terms of you got in there and then you've gone against a guy who gets behind the jab, goes back to his strengths in terms of using his strengths and doesn't try to engage in a brawl with you. You don't have a plan B. As soon as you know you can't get this guy out of the ring within 3-4 rounds, your head goes, in terms of like, you don't have a plan B to try and, adjust or adapt to this fight. And for me, when you don't have that, you're not going to win the fight. I mean, he's actually trying to goad him into coming forward. Like, you see stage in the fight when he's saying, beating his chest, like saying, come forward, come forward. Like, why is Lyndon Arthur going to come forward? If I'm already doing what's enough to win the fight, I'm jabbing you all night long. I'm landing my jab flush. Why am I going to engage with you and get caught?
Yeah.
You don't, and like,
Andy Ruiz did that. You remember in Saudi? Ruiz at the end, last round, you remember he was telling AJ, let's fight. No, bro, you just got schooled for 12 rounds. You think I'm going to risk losing the title or not retaining my title for that? Nah, mate. Like, that's it. He knew deep down when he was saying, come forward, he knew he was losing. You could put that act in the ring of putting your arms up and then like looking all shocked when the results came in. Mate, first of all, I want to get to that judge. I don't know what the hell he was smoking. 115 to 111 to Yarde, bruv. Like, was he one of the lions in the camp? Like, did he get a free lion in the camp t-shirt? I don't know what the hell he got. He must have got like a shout out on Tunde's show, bruv, for him to do that. Like, what the hell was that? Like, and that's not the first time, Jay. You know, poor judging this year in boxing it ruins the sport, because last night that could have cost Arthur either the title or win. That could have ended up in a draw due to that judge.
Yeah. It's true. I mean, you've seen some scandalous scorecards in the last couple of weeks, which you thinking, come on now, like not even a couple of weeks, the last couple of months. You look at even back to Ritson when he fought, what was it? I thought his name was it Perez.
Yeah,
I thought his name.
That was the worst one of the year. That had to be the worst one. That
was a robbery of the year. And then even look at the scorecards between Danny Jacobs and Gabe Rosado, and that was a joke as well. And it just, when you see that, you're thinking like, come on now, if you're a boxer and you're outboxing a guy for 12 rounds and you don't get caught and you don't get stopped and you don't get stopped, you're thinking, mate, like I might get robbed here, because when you've got judges that scoring fights like that, you're going to think, you know what, man, have I done enough? And it's going to take one silly judge or two judges to rob a fighter of a convincing win. So I think they need to look into that, because it's not acceptable. It really isn't, and it's gonna tarnish the sport. But like I said, shout out to Lyndon Arthur, man, absolutely fantastic performance. Like I said, it reminded me of the Joe Joyce fight in terms of he uses his strengths. Like for me, if you know you've got the strength in terms of jab, and he said that as people said already, he's probably got one of the best jabs in boxing, in British boxing as well.
He does.
And he said it. The jab's gonna be key, and the jab was key. And like I'm just disappointed Anthony Yarde didn't close the gap down in terms of like trying to fight on the inside. And if you know the guy's got one hand, for me, you got to keep coming forward and you got to let your hands go. I just don't believe he did. And you had to close the gap down for me, and you had to make Arthur think, wow, this is for real fight here. And then for me, he just boxed at a natural pace for him. He just boxed at a pace where he was comfortable all fight. It's only towards the 12th round, or in the 12th round, Yarde decides to let his hands go, and he rocks him. But for me, it's too little too late.
It reminded me of Parker, Dillian White, 12th round. You remember that?
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, but I'm just a bit disappointed. But I want to ask you, what next for Anthony Yarde? Obviously, they're talking about the rematch, but can you believe?
Get rid of Tunde. Get rid of Tunde.
Wow.
Get rid of Tunde. I know people are saying, "Oh, it's unfair." People are jumping on Tunde's on Tunde's back and all of this. Listen, I was one of the first ones to say it was unfair to jump on Tunde's back when he lost to Kovalev, right? Because first of all, no fighter will ever say no to a world title fight against Kovalev. You got to be crazy. It doesn't matter if you're 3 fights into your career or you're whatever. If you're getting a chance to face the world champion, you're facing him. Even if you think you're not ready, you're facing him. And that's it. But for me, you got to look at it like this. He fought 2 good fighters and he lost. And okay, he didn't underperform against Kovalev. He didn't, because he could have beaten. But again, he rocked 2 opponents and he didn't have that killer instinct to finish them. There's got to be something there. And then there's these stories that he doesn't even spar in training. If that's true, I question the coach. I question the coach. How you have a fighter that doesn't spar, if that is true? You know what I mean? Look, as much as I respect Tunde and I respect this, see it, believe it, blah, 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 do. Look, mate, he's got to change his trainer, mate. He's got to change his trainer. I'm sorry. He has had 22 fights. He's had 2 losses and he's only faced 2 good fighters. The rest have been journeymen. And if you look, I guarantee you, if you sit down and watch all of Anthony Yarde's fights, he's too open as well. Those journeymen were hitting him, but they were nothing. You know what I mean? They weren't enough to beat him, because all people were focused on was when Yarde was knocking them out. He's too open. It's the same as Deontay Wilder. How many times? Few times he got rocked by the journeyman he used to face, but yeah, he knocked out 40 plus people, but they were all bums. They were all bums. Take away Luis Ortiz, they were all bums. And then you finally face someone that can box. You got schooled. Simple as that. You got schooled. So there's got to be something there that has to change. He can't continue with Tunde. Nothing's changing. And you want to put him in the... Even, look, I'm going to say this now. Callum Johnson will beat him. Callum Johnson will beat him.
That'll be a great fight. I mean, I believe that for me now, for Anthony Yarde going forward, he needs to fight these guys. The likes of Callum Johnson, maybe that Buatsi fight might materialize now. Maybe the fight, someone like Danny Aziz, he might fight like I said, winner of Shakan Pitters versus Craig Richards. For me, there probably needs to be a bit more domestic fights. For me, he's kind of, I don't know if he's taken a forward step by going straight to world level, but maybe he needs to have more domestic fights, get the rounds in, and then go from there in terms of fighting these guys. But I don't know. I'm not really gonna. I don't know. I just think it. Obviously, when a fighter does lose like this, everybody does jump on the trainer in terms of what did you do wrong and do they need to part ways and stuff like that. Some people are gonna probably say they probably do. Some people are probably gonna say they don't, and they're probably gonna say they need another two more fights to see if they can get it right. But if it is true that a fighter's not sparring, then that's not a good sign. That really isn't. He needs to be getting rounds in with some top fighters, all fighters coming up, or even world champions, sparring world champions at light heavyweight. You can't just be
even a cruiserweight.
Yeah, even a cruiserweight.
Like, but I'll give you an example. Yeah, he should have been sparring, even though he's got a world title fight coming up. He should have been sparring on a Coley, because a Coley, his stature and his reach advantage is exactly what Arthur has. You need to spar people like that. He should have been sparring people like that. It's as simple as that. Someone that's tall and has that reach advantage against you as well, to prepare for someone like Lyndon Arthur. At the end of the day, Jay, put it this way. He's had, like I said, he's had 22 fights. Yeah, he's beaten 20 of them. He fought 2 good fighters and he lost. And he's not just lost. He didn't show enough. I give him credit for the Kovalev fight. For someone that was inexperienced and fought 20 bums and he went in there, he nearly beat him. But domestically right now, you lost to Lyndon Arthur, which I'm not cussing Lyndon Arthur or anything, but are you even ready for Buatsi, mate? Are you even ready for Callum Johnson? Are you even ready for Richard Bolognick? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you see any improvements as every fight goes on with Anthony Yarde? We got to be serious now. Do you see any improvements? He's fighting nobodies. He should have been fighting some people that were at the end of their career. Look at Joshua, right? Joshua went up fighting journeyman. Then, Johnson, Kingpin Johnson, even though he was at the end of his career, still someone with experience and was going up and up and up. And then finally got the chance with Charles Martin. Dead fighter. But still better than all the fighters he had before. Dillian White. Go on. Here, he fought nobody. We're in the same situation as Dubois. Who has he fought before Joe Joyce? He should have been fighting better opposition.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely think that domestic levels that these guys should have been fighting each other now. I think he definitely needs to get these fights on now. If Eddie Hearn can work together with Frank, and they can get these fights on, lots of Callum Johnson, lots of Buatsi, like I said, the winner of the Golden Contract as well, Richard Bolitnik. There's so many fighters. There's so many fighters out there that they could fight. Like I said, Danny Aziz as well. There's so many fighters. Shakan Peters, Craig Richards. I just think they need, and I think with Anthony Yarde, he needs top quality sparring. Like for me, spar likes of Callum Smith, who's tall, rangy, got a good jab. You probably can fight that.
100%.
You probably couldn't fight at light heavyweight. You can probably go out to light heavyweight and fight and campaign at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Start sparring guys who are quality, world class opponents, operators, and then go from there. But I really hope he come back from this. I really do, because
I hope so too.
Same with the bar. Because a lot of people, when you lose, man, boxing's a horrible sport where when you lose, people will kick you when you're down, and when you're on the up, everyone will be kissing your ass, and that's just the way it is. But I really do hope he can come back, because I believe he's going to be involved in some big mega fights, domestic levels and maybe world level. So yeah, I really do hope he comes back from this.
Do you know what the difference between Dubois and Anthony Yarde is? There's a massive difference there. The difference is that Dubois, people say he quit. They need to understand that this sport is not worth losing your eyesight for. But they jumped on Dubois mainly because of Frank Warren. It was the same. It was the same that when AJ lost to Ruiz, people jumped on Eddie Hearn more than they jumped on AJ, because the promoter made them out to be unstoppable, untouchable, and the next big thing. And then he lost the way he lost to Dubois, where they said, someone who's robotic and isn't great, is old, can't fight, is a terrible fighter. These are the words of Eddie Hearn and other people. That's why they jumped on Dubois. But Anthony Yarde, he's arrogant. He's arrogant. That's the thing why people are jumping on Dubois and jumping on Tunde. They're arrogant. It's his way of the way he comes into the ring. After every round, the way he was just bopping back to the thing like, yeah, I just showed you, fam. But you just lost that round. You were 4-0 down. You were 4 down, and you're still like looking around and doing these dumb little shimmy dances. Bruv, you're losing. You're losing. And it's just like what Hasham Boxing says. There's no urgency in the corner. They knew Arthur had an injury. And what you're saying to my man is he's scared.
Okay.
What kind of freaking... What are you telling him? What are you telling him? He's scared. And Yard's like, yeah, man. Yeah, he is. Like, shut up. Like, jump on him. Like, he's got one hand, bruv. Man just did a Danny Williams on you. Man beat you with one hand. You know what I'm saying? Them ones there. It's like, what? For me, look, Tunde, as much as I've heard he's a great coach, amazing, great. Stick to the podcast. I'm sorry. I don't care if I get blocked. Stick to the podcast. That's it. I know I'm being harsh. Stick to the podcast. Because all this hype that I've heard about Anthony Yarde, I think he would be a better fighter under McGuigan or someone like Dominic Ingle. That's just my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, I said people can have their opinions of that. I don't know what to make of that. For me, yeah, they do need to get back to the drawing board and see where they went wrong. But for me, you can't be saying to a fighter that you're scared in the corner. That's not good enough. Surely your fighter's four rounds down. There needs to be more urgency. You need to say you're not doing enough here. You need to close the gap down. You need to apply pressure. You need to let your hands go. And later on the round, you need to get him out. You might get caught on the way in with a shot, and he might drop you. But you need to let your hands go. You need to close the gap. You need to look for the stoppage. And I just believe he was on cruise control in that fight. And he probably just thought he won by UD, the way he was boxing. Is that he was so... That fight towards the end, the way he was boxing, it reminded me, we're going to get to the fight in a minute, of the last 2 rounds of Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia, when Spence was like in round 10 and he already had the fight wrapped up. So he's basically just allowing pressure from Danny Garcia coming forward. And he's like, you know what, doesn't really matter. I've won probably about 8 of these 10 rounds. So unless he knocks me out, unless he stops me, I've won the fight. And that's why I believe Anthony Yarde kind of actually was in that fight, in terms of he probably thought he won hands down, and really and truly he didn't. And his corner should know that, and his corner should have let him, and his corner should have told him.
100%. 100%. Let's move to that fight. Great performance from Spence. Prove to everybody that he's still he's still the same guy after the crash. He had a few cobwebs. He did get caught by Garcia a few times. But listen, Garcia felt that power, man. Garcia felt that power. What was it? He swelled up his nose, his eye as well.
Hey, left eye was a jab for me. Like, obviously, I love that fight. I stayed. I'm a big Errol Spence fan. Like, get me? I just rate that guy so highly from the Olympics to now. And for me, it looked like he never left the ring, bro. It looked like he never had an accident. He looked back. He looked to the fighter that was the fighter who stopped Kell Brook, the fighter who stopped Chris Algieri, the fighter that
beat Sean Porter.
The fighter that we all know is a unified champion of the world, and he just displayed some great boxing. It's a great boxing display. The jab was just ferocious. He just kept coming forward, jabbing them all night long. And I've never seen someone like Danny Garcia, who's a counter puncher, get hit with so many shots. I looked at the stats, and it was like he landed about 186 punches compared to Garcia's like 80 something. That's almost double punches. And he's a fighter that he's a fighter who always lands more shots than his opponent. He just keeps coming forward. He lets his hand go, and he's such an accurate puncher. What I loved about the way he performed yesterday was the variety of punches.
Jay, you still there?
They're the best in the game for it, and the way he boxed was superb. And I believe he probably could have got Garcia out in the stages there. He looked like he probably could have
as well.
I
think it was at the fourth round. I think there was a fourth or fifth. He hit him nicely. I thought he was going to get him out there as well. Look, credit to Garcia as well. Look, there isn't a lot of people that can take that punishment from Errol Spence as well. And credit the thing that I love about Errol Spence is that he'll fight anyone, and he's not one of these people that just say it. He proves it. Anyone that had the crash that he had, the near-death experience, right? Someone like look, I love Kell Brook, and I'm a big fan of his. But he had that incident in Spain. Came back, he fought a journeyman. Can't remember who he fought. He just fought some anybody. Errol Spence came back and proved to the world that he's still the same guy. And he could have picked anybody in the division. He could have put any guy outside the top 10, and he picked the two-weight world champion, former unified champion Danny Garcia, and he just proved to the world that he's still the same guy, and he's just unbelievable, man. He's just, I love the guy. And do you know what? I personally don't believe that the Crawford fight is going to happen anytime soon. Could be Pacquiao if he wants it. The last time we saw Spence in the ring, Pacquiao didn't want it. You could see in his face. I would love a rematch with Sean Porter. I love that fight. That's one of my favorite Errol Spence fights. That fight was just incredible. The fight of the year for me. One of the fights of the year for me. What was it, last year or the year before that?
I believe it was last year. I think it was last year.
Yeah,
just happened
just before the crash. That's one of my favorite Errol Spence fights, and I would love a rematch with that. That fight deserved a rematch because it was just incredible. And if we're not going to get that, I doubt we're going to get the Crawford fight. I doubt we're going to get the Pacquiao fight. So that's the fight I would love to see.
Yeah, you can't rule out him fighting Keith Thurman as well. There's Keith Thurman out there. Obviously, Keith Thurman is not the guy who once was in terms of had so many injuries, hand injuries, elbow injuries. He had quite a few injuries now, and he's not the Keith Thurman of old. But it's a fight that he might take. He might obviously them two being back and forth in the past. I'm sure if Keith Thurman got a chance to fight for a world title, then you will take that fight. So that's a fight that could happen as well. So I believe, that'd be good to watch if it does happen. Because I just can't see, like I said, the Crawford fight happen anytime soon. I could probably see him fighting Pacquiao first before he does actually fight Crawford. And I think if he fights Pacquiao, he beats Pacquiao for me, because Pacquiao is not the fighter he once was. 10, 15 years ago. So
might stop him. But I think after the performance against Pacquiao, he'll stop Thurman, in my opinion. It's not the same Thurman as before. He took Thurman. That was a poor fight. Furman against Pacquiao. It's not the same fight. Don't get me wrong. It's a fight that I would like to see as well, because obviously Furman is a top guy. But I think the Spence's jab, his movement, his power is just too much for Furman. There isn't a lot of choice for him right now in that division, because he'll beat a lot of people easily, hands down right now. For me, that's why I said Sean Porter. I would love the rematch with that. If not, I'd rather Sean Porter go fight Crawford, because that'll be a great fight.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I believe Sean Porter is a likable character, likable guy. Obviously, he was at the fight yesterday. He was doing commentary for PBC. I think it was or Premier Boxing, and obviously he believes he probably can get another shot at Spence, and I believe he can as well. That'd be a great fight if it does happen. But like I said, if it, even a fight like a Pacquiao versus Sean Porter as well, that'd be a great fight. Two fighters who like to come forward, let their hands go. For me, that would be a good fight. So, and if he does fight Crawford as well, that would be a great fight as well. But for Spence, what's frightening about Errol Spence's the interview after, when he goes, I'm looking to get back out in next year in the summer. I believe that's nothing. I'm a better performer than that. I can perform better than that. And now I've got the cobwebs off. I'm gonna be back to boxing how I was before. And if he's saying that after a performance like that, if you're a welterweight fighter looking to become world champion, that's frightening. That's a frightening sight. When the unified world champion is talking like that, it's not looking good for you guys, honestly. And but Danny Garcia, I think Danny Garcia was relying too much on the counter punching yesterday in the fight. I think he was trying to land that counter punch too much, and he should have let his hands go. His dad said that he should have let his hands go a bit more. I think it might have been a bit more interesting, maybe a closer fight if he did let his hands go.
Yeah,
obviously
he hit him and you saw the look that Spence gave his corner. I don't know what that look was. Was that, what the hell was that? I felt that, or what is that all he's got? I don't know if he really felt that or what, but the look that he gave his corner, just like, it kind of made everyone think like, whoa, like if the bell didn't go, what could have happened after that punch? So a little too late, just like the Yarde fight.
Yeah, I'm sure, like I said, Garcia's probably going to look at that fight and see where he went wrong. I believe he will fight for another world title again, because he's a class operator as well. But I said, I wish he'd let his hands go, just to make the fight a bit more closer in terms of like just to be in the fight. I just believe he should let his hands go a bit more. And if he did do that, then it would have been a bit closer fight. I still believe Spence would have won. But I believe it would have been a more tougher night for Errol Spence.
Yeah.
But I think Garcia will come again, definitely. And I believe he'll fight for another world title again.
100%. Let Spence enjoy his new chickens and his new horses and that, and then he'll come back stronger, man. Before I let you go, Jermaine, obviously this weekend, is it the big fight? It's a fight. Joshua Pulev. Is this a situation where anything can happen in heavyweight boxing and we could say, don't sleep on Pulev? You
know what? This year it's been so crazy in terms of the shocks we've seen in boxing. 2020, even outside boxing, what's going on in the world. That this fight for Anthony Joshua, we need to see a switch on Anthony Joshua, not thinking too far ahead in terms of getting past this guy and fighting a Tyson Fury, maybe fighting a Deontay Wilder, maybe fighting, I don't know, Dillian White again in the rematch. He can't be looking past this guy. He's a guy he's been in there with great fighters like Klitschko. Only fighter who's actually beat him is Klitschko.
He's the only one.
Yeah, the only fighter, and that's saying something. If he's the only guy who's beat you, Klitschko dominated the heavyweight division for about 11 years.
Yeah, and I think Klitschko is the only one that's ever knocked him down.
Yeah, so that's saying something, and that is saying something. So for me, I want to see Anthony Joshua hungry. I want to see Anthony Joshua that was looking to become world champion. I wanted to put on a good boxing display, and if he can break him down slowly and get a late stoppage, and really just prove a point. Not even prove a point, but just make a statement.
Send a statement in the division.
But I know I'm hearing. I'm not know if it's true or not, but I'm hearing Tyson Fury is going to be in attendance next week. I've told you before that it could happen, and obviously I think Eddie Hearn's come out and said that Tyson Fury could be in attendance. There's no better way to put on a statement than in front of the WBC heavyweight world champion and getting a stoppage. And even Usyk's watching. He's going to be in there. Like I said, he's put on a display, box very well. And if you need to break him down, if you need to win a points, then you win a points. But if you can get a late stoppage by breaking him down slowly, then so be it. But I just want to see Andy Joshua, a hungry Andy Joshua who's going to show real power and real intent on getting this guy out.
Against Brazil.
Yeah, like against Brazil.
Like him, just send a statement. For me, if Tyson Fury is there, you're going to have the same situation when he beat Molina and Klitschko was there, got in the ring and announced the fight. But again, don't sleep on Pulev because we've had too many shocks this year. It's like when AJ faced Ruiz, they were already talking about afterwards Wilder, and look what happened. Dillian White, they were talking about facing the winner of Wilder Fury. Look what happened with Povetkin. So again, don't sleep on Pulev. He may not be the same Pulev as he was when the first fight got announced. He's still dangerous. He's slow, but he's dangerous, and he's got experience, and he can hit. The guy can hit.
And then I said it's heavyweight boxing. I mean, one punch changes the course of a fight, and either you're slow or not. If you land flush, it's good night. It's good night. So Andy Joshua needs to be switched on. Don't get too engaged. Don't get too relaxed, and just do the business. And I believe he will. I already do believe he will. And we want to get closer to these big fights now. If he does fight Usyk or he fights Tyson Fury next, we want to see them fights now. And hopefully those fights will be stadium fights next year with the COVID-free. Fingers crossed.
100%. Jermaine, thanks for joining me again for this podcast. Obviously, we'll do this weekly. Add us on Instagram, the Pound for Pound Boxing Show. YouTube, the Pound for Pound Boxing Show. Twitter, P4_show. Hopefully, we could do a podcast for the AJ fight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, do a podcast for the AJ fight. Canelo fight the week after that. There's so many big fights. Obviously, you've got Luke Campbell facing Garcia as well
in the new year. Can't wait for that.
Ryan Garcia. So there's so many big fights. So continue to follow us, the Pound for Pound Boxing Show. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram, and check out our sponsors as well. Dirty South Boxing and the guys at IQ Boxing.
100%. Take it easy, Jermaine.
All right, take care.